Hi, we just finished meeting for intonation practice on March 20th, the first day of spring. Happy vernal equinox. So I divided these into little groups because it was looking kind of crazy, but I'll explain later. We started with I've lived here for 6 months. I've lived here for 6 months. So you don't have to say a perfect four. You can make it shorter and say fur. And you don't have to say the TH in months at all. So you can just skip it and say months. This is because the month N is behind the teeth, TH is between the teeth, and S is behind the teeth. So instead of going back, front, back, if you leave your tongue behind your teeth, the TH will turn into a T, and that's okay. If I say months carefully, it's difficult. If I say months, it's much easier. And you don't even notice. 6 months, 6 months. You're used to people saying 6 months. So I've lived here for 6 months. I didn't even have time to talk to her. I didn't even have time to talk to her. We can get rid of the H when there's a consonant before it, but we can't when there's a vowel before it. So I'm keeping the her. Didn't even. So now the I didn't mark this. The N will connect to the E here. Didn't even. So didn't knee. I could put an N here and say knee. It's not necessary, but I didn't even have time to. The two changes to the talk to her. Talk to her. Usually the rule is the T will stay a T if a voiceless sound is before it and k is voiceless, but you don't hear the K. We don't even make the K sound. It's talk, talk. So the tongue goes to the K position. So the last thing you hear and the last thing your voice is doing is making the voiced ah, talk. So it's a D. So the T is now between two voiced sounds, and that's why it's a D. I didn't even have time to talk to her. Didn't even have time to talk to her. It has been 2 weeks since Amy was here. And make a contraction whenever possible. It's been 2 weeks since Amy was here. Lots of connections. 2 weeks since. So only one S, weeks since. And now since Amy. It will sound like since Amy. It's been 2 weeks since Amy was here. So now we begin the options you have with what do you and what are you. So what do you could be what do ya. What do ya. Changing the do and the you to ya. So that's pretty simple. What do ya. Everything changes to What do you mean? If you want to keep the you, what do you mean? It's okay. It doesn't change it too much, especially if you need to ask somebody specifically, what do you mean? What do I mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? You might need to use it. You can also, what do you mean? Get rid of the do, and now you have what you, and the T and the Y next to each other make a cha. So now you have what cha. What you mean? You could say what you mean. It's okay, what you mean. But it's more common if you're going to make that much of a change. What cha. Keep the What you mean? What are you referring to? What are ya? Again, what are you? Oh, I'm sorry. This one is water. You can make a contraction in speaking that you can't do in writing. So we don't usually make a contraction water, but water, water. The T changes to a D. Water. What are you referring to? I can say ya anytime. You can change you to ya. But if I'm using the word referring, excuse me, that's a little more formal than just casual speech. Because what are you referring to? I would say, what do you mean? So in this case, using the word referring makes me want to use the you. What are you? What are you? Because it's almost like you're keeping it perfect. What are you? But you're just going fast with what are. What are you referring to? If you want to get rid of the R and put what you together, now you have the T and the Y make a cha. Whatcha? Whatcha referring to? Which seems a little odd because you're kind of mixing casual whatcha with a more formal word referring. So it's up to you. It's totally your choice. None of these are wrong, and none of these are, these are perfect, but sound weird if you say them perfect. What are you referring to? What are you referring to? Sounds a little stiff and unusual. What are you referring to? To me, sounds the most natural. What are you talking about? Again, what are you? You can make it wadaya, and wadaya has all the same Wadaya talkin, changing talking with the ing e and the ing with the tongue high in the back. You can change to the I, the vowel's a little lower I, and the in the front, talkin. And if the I vowel here in it is a little difficult to find, you can always use because that's sometimes easier to find and it doesn't matter. You can say talkin or talkin and it doesn't matter because it will be short. Talkin. What are you talking about? Or you can change what are you to what you, and that T and Y make a cha. Whatcha? What you talking about? So, what are you talking about? Or, what you talking about? What is he talking about? Now, this is where we can get rid of the H because it's a pronoun, and he, him, his, her, and the TH in them. But what's he? Get rid of the H, and it sounds like what's he? And that really does sound like C. So, what's he? What's he talking about? What's he talking about? What's on the shopping list? This we can't change to an in shopping. Well, you could. You can say shopping list. It's more common to change the verb to the in instead of ing than the this is acting as an adjective. But what's on the shopping list? What's on? What's on the shopping list? Jenny and Tom used to go out. Jenny. So instead of and, I'm making it shorter in. And because my tongue is high for Jenny, well, I have to watch my accent. Jenny. Jenny and Tom. Jenny and Tom used to, instead of used to go out. I've given this a second thought. I've given this a second thought. There's lots of it here, so it looks like I've added a lot of H's because I use the IH to represent the I, the vowel here in it. I've given this a second thought. A lot of it in there. And the last thing we talked about was the different ways that you can express I caught a cold, I have a cold, I have gotten a cold, or I have got a cold, but they all mean the same thing, and we pretty much just use got. I got a cold. You can say it for past tense, like I caught a cold last weekend. I would say I got a cold last weekend. I can use it for present tense. I have a cold now. I got a cold. I have gotten a cold in the past. I got a cold in the past. Universal got. It can go anywhere. Very confusing. All right. Let's see. Without stopping. I've lived here for 6 months. I didn't even have time to talk to her. It is. It's been 2 weeks since. It's been 2 weeks since Amy was here. What do you mean? Or you. What do you mean? What you mean? Or what you mean? What are you referring to? Or more likely, the you. What are you referring to? Whatcha? Whatcha referring to? What'ya? What are you talking about? Whatcha? Whatcha talking about? What is he talking about? Oh, I didn't change his T to a D. What? Oh, no, I made a contraction. What's he? If I didn't make a contraction, it'd be what is he? But what's he? What's he talking about? What's on the shopping list? Jenny and Tom used to go out. I've given this a second thought. I caught a cold. I have a cold. I have gotten a cold. I have got a cold. I got a cold. I should have written this like gotta because the T changes to a D. I got a cold. All right. Thank you. Happy spring, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.